Welcome back. This is now topic number 6 of the Small Business Destruction Guide, and we are going to talk about big. That's right. Not necessarily big business because, as I mentioned right in the first line of the book, of this topic, I'm writing a Small Business Destruction Guide, so I'm not technically talking about big business. I'm talking about people that start a small business with a big mentality. And the big mentality when you're starting a small business will almost inevitably, and I really cannot remember interviewing, consulting with anyone that started a small business with a big mentality that didn't either suffer tremendously or close down. So in this case, you really have got to be very careful about the reason why you may want to go big when you're starting off your small business. Now, if you have a business and you want to expand, well, that's how all businesses pretty much go big, is they start small and then they grow big. So in this case, that's the right process. That's how you would do that. But think about all the big businesses that you know of right now, okay? And I'm just going to take the 3 biggest that everybody is very familiar with, not only just here in the United States, but all around the world. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. Pretty much, they all started in a bedroom. Steve and Steve, they started working in, I think it was Koznak's bedroom, and then they went into the garage, all right? And then Amazon, Jeff Bezos started in his garage, and Microsoft, I really don't know where he started it, but basically they all started small and then grew big, okay? In the case of like software type things, if you look at some software companies and stuff like that, all of them basically started in somebody's office, somebody's basement, somebody's garage, somebody's living room, somebody's kitchen, and then they grow, okay? The guy that I spoke about from another country that's a multimillionaire now, he started on his laptop, okay, in his dad's bakery garage, all right? So basically, every business starts small. There really isn't a business that starts big unless you've got a lot of funding from a lot of deep pockets that will sustain it. An example of this is FedEx, all right? So if you research FedEx, basically, and I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that started it. He's still the owner, obviously, and I'm drawing a blank here, and I don't want to research it right now. But just Google it, and you'll find out. But the way he started, he found investors that helped him fund. And at one point, I watched one of the interviews of one of the guys, one of the co-founders kind of guy. He said that I think for 30 some odd months straight, they had $1 million loss for 30 somewhat months consecutively per month. $1 million per month loss. I think it was something like 36 months back to back. So somebody had to fund that. But it's a type of business that was promising, had really the opportunity to grow, and look at FedEx today, what it is. Okay, so that's probably one of the only businesses that kind of didn't start small, but don't forget, the founder had previous businesses, he had some cash, and then he just got some partners or some funding to help get the fire going. So, but everybody else, think about it, they all started small, all right? I've mentioned in a previous video, don't let your small business make you small-minded. So having a big business mentality is not only good, but it's a necessity. Because, if your plan is really to have a small business and keep a small business until you retire, sell it, pass it on to your kids, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're basically trading in your job, okay? And you're getting a business, could be a restaurant, could be, a mom and pop type shop, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with that. I would say that the greater majority of the 99.9% small businesses in the United States are that type of business, okay? They are the mom and pops, single, small businesses, and they grow by either innovating what they have, and they grow their income, and then, they normally hit the plateau or the comatose state, and they kind of stay there unless, somebody else comes. A lot of times what happens with these companies is if one of the kids takes over and they have more innovative, younger, more up-to-date type mentalities, and they pretty much innovate the business, which is Gary Vaynerchuk's deal. So if you read Gary Vaynerchuk's books, so he talks about what he did with his parents' liquor store in New York. All right, so they were doing well, doing I don't know how many millions in sales a year, and he came in and he just blasted it because of what he was doing with his social media, his videos, and his wine demos and tasting and stuff like that on a daily basis. So again, small businesses will, in essence, start small, but what is the problem with going big or going big, big, big? And I use the story of a company or a business owner, entrepreneur that I consulted with back in 2008. And I talk about the situation there. He had deep pockets, so it's not a situation maybe that you're in. That you pretty much, whatever you have, if you've got $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, you put it into a business and you burn everything up, you don't leave any reserves, chances are you're going to fail, okay? Or you're going to struggle, or you're going to have to go and borrow money at a higher rate. You have to bring in some type of money to keep the business going. You always have to start as small and as humble as possible, okay? And then you grow to the point where you can add on, whether it's adding on machinery, technology, services, staff, whatever it is. But chances are you start small and humble, and then you grow big. So if that's the case, what are the questions you should ask yourself? Okay, and if we go back to the questions that I taught you in a previous video, which is the what? You can do this in any way you want. You can have why, what, okay, why, when, and how, okay? You ask all of these questions. Again, if you watch the previous videos, you know that you can ask these questions at any point in time, all right? So, what is it that you need to make your business big? Or do you need a big shop front? Do you need a big warehouse? Do you need a fleet of 10 delivery trucks? Or can you start with one? What do you need? What are your needs? Okay? Don't forget, do not mix needs and wants. Well, I want this, I want that, I want this technology, I want that technology, I want this car, I want that car, or this van, or this truck, or this tractor trailer, whatever it is. Make sure that what you want and what you need are completely separate, because a lot of times what you want is not what you need. Sometimes, and most times, what you want is just to either show off, put on, a facade that doesn't exist, but what you need is something else. Okay? If you let's just. I'm using now the example that I just used about a truck, for example. Now, let's say you're a contractor, all right, and you go out and you purchase you have limited funds, and you need a truck. You need a truck to do your business, whether you are doing carpentry, tiling, flooring, sheetrocking, whatever the case is. What is your base need that you can get today to get started, and then as profits come in, then you get something better, okay? Could you buy a second-hand truck? Yeah, you can buy a second-hand in really good shape, okay? You don't have to get a clunker that's rusted, falling apart. But going out and buying a brand new Mercedes, box truck is probably not going to be to your benefit. That's maybe what you want, but it's not what you need. You can go out and buy even a second-hand Mercedes-Benz box truck, and then a van. They call them vans. It's not really trucks, but you can get one of those, a second-hand one. You'll have the same look. It's not going to be, maybe as shiny, maybe as pretty as the latest model, but it'll give you the appearance that you need, the professional appearance, and it'll give you, take you from A to B with all your stuff in the back. That's all you have to understand, okay? Then, as you build that up, you make the money, you get the profits, then you get what you want, okay? And sometimes what you want is not going to make you, the question you have to ask is, what do you need? Why do you need it, okay? Do you need it because you want to look good, okay? Or do you need it because you want to just put in a facade? All right, so why? Why do you need it? When do you need it? I just covered that. Okay, do you need it right away? Some businesses, you have to have a professional appearance. You have to have something that will require you to get the best of something. Okay, maybe not the biggest, but the best. All right, now you always have to research. Again, I just used the example of a second-hand truck and a brand new truck. Okay, and you can get a second-hand truck for a lot less than a brand new, okay, latest model truck or van or car to have that look. Okay, so when and how? How are you going to go about doing that? Okay, and maybe the how doesn't even count in this sequence of questioning, but how? All right, so you ask these questions, chances are you're going to come up with answers that are necessary. Now, be careful, because on one shoulder is sitting the big, big, big demon, and on the other shoulder is sitting the humble demon. I mean, the humble angel, not demon, okay? So you got the big, big, big demon sitting on your one shoulder and the humble angel sitting on the other one. What happens is they're going to be in conflict with each other, because you can even convince yourself, or in other words, this guy can convince you that you absolutely need that big item. And the book, I used the example of that entrepreneur that I described it, that I consulted for. $50 a square foot for a bathroom tile, okay, a toilet tile. It's ridiculous, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous, okay? So, and it's not like there was this tile was like striking that, you'd want to look at it and like worship it or bow down. No, it just looked like a plain old tile at $50 a square foot. I don't know what this guy used to smoke, but I know he had a big, big, big mentality by everything. Just think about him. And if you've opened up your business and you just, 1,000 square feet, it's not a lot, okay? 1,000 square feet is not a lot of square footage, and you're spending almost $1 million in that. That's a lot of money. Obviously, this guy had deep pockets, but he had his limit, and that's why 2 months after opening, he basically decided he's got to get out. Now, he not only, I think this was his biggest mistake, the big business mentality, the big, big, big mentality. But he also failed at the fact that he got into business he knew nothing about, the coffee business, okay? He thought he was this coffee entrepreneur because he had, tasted coffee, whatever. Doesn't matter. He was not a restaurateur. He was not a coffeeteer, a coffee connoisseur. Knowing his character, I'm almost certain he did not get any advice about this. He just had the idea, he had the money, and he felt like, I'm gonna beat Starbucks, basically, and put them out of business with my premium, all organic coffee and coffee shop and coffee concept. So obviously, I doubt he got any advice. He was not the type of person that got advice, okay? He jumped right in. I don't know how long he thought about this idea, but knowing the little few months that I spent with him, it looked like he just jumped right in. So if you look at all the previous topics in the book and the videos that I've done up until now, I think he pretty much was a moron on all levels, okay? So it doesn't surprise me that once you got to the big, 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 it's kind of what really broke him at the end of the day. So long story short, and to summarize everything, all businesses start small. If you have a big mentality, that's awesome, because that means you're going to grow your business big. If you want to stay small, nothing wrong with that, okay? And at the end of the day, you always want to think about why you need to purchase. So if, let's say, technology, and one of the businesses that I have, it was hard for me because I'm more of the conservative type spender, okay? And my partner, basically, she wanted to have all the updated technology. There's a lot of trial and error, purchasing machines that really, were not as expensive and so on. At the end of the day, we've come to the conclusion that the best machines are the higher priced ones. So you get what you pay for in that industry, okay? And I kind of, would clutch my fists and, oh my God, here's another expense on a new machine. But at the end of the day, I understand today that without this technology, we wouldn't have the opportunities, we wouldn't be conquering and attracting is more the words that I'm trying to look at, attracting the clientele that we're attracting now. Because people in this industry want results. And without this new technology, it's very hard to achieve the results without the technology for that industry. Okay, so just remember that sometimes you have to put in the money. Now, obviously, when we started this business, when I took over, it really had just the very basics of technology for that industry, and little by little, we would upgrade. One of the machines that we have there is almost $100,000 for a single machine. Okay, and if you know the industry I'm talking about, it's one of the highest priced machines in the industry, but the results that it gives is unbelievable. They're literally unbelievable results for this type of treatment and the technology. All right, so again, it's important, but when I initially took over the business, if we had bought that machine immediately, chances are it would have been, it would have kind of crippled me right from the beginning. And there's a lot of other things to pay off, a lot of other bills, a lot of other small incremental things that had to get done before we were able to get to that machine that was almost $100,000. Okay? So don't forget, as a small business owner, start as humbly as possible and then build. And the way you do it is you start. Okay, you keep your reserves. Make sure you always keep reserves. If it's a new business, make sure you keep reserves, okay, as much as you can. So get everything that you need to start off. And then you build on little by little. As the profits come in, you build. As the profits come in, you build, okay, until the point that you either go very big, all right, or you have all the technology, all the needs met as far as a warehouse. If you can start off with a warehouse that's as big as a garage, then perfect. Use a garage-sized warehouse, all right? But then two-car garage warehouse. Then you get, a whatever size garage warehouse, and you just build on that way, okay? By getting the big warehouse first, and your needs are really for a small garage, what's going to happen is the overheads, the maintenance, the whatever is necessary to maintain that big warehouse is going to just take chunks and chunks of money that you need to get your fuel into orbit. And that's another analogy that I'm actually going to be talking about in future topics that I kind of created when I was writing the book. And it's really just, the analogy of a rocket, of a spaceship taking off. The most amount of fuel, the most amount of energy, the most amount of concentration of everything is right after you count down the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. I mean, everything is just into action. It just consumes a ton of energy, a ton of jet fuel, whatever they put into those rockets, and then it just perpetually just goes little by little until it breaks the surface, and then it goes into orbit. Once your business is in orbit, then it's coasting, then you can kind of look around and see what needs to get done to, you're steering it and so on. And so then that's when you really get growth. Okay? So don't forget about that. All that energy that's needed in the beginning, you do not want to go big at that point. Do not go big. Trust me. I would even dare to say, even if you have deep pocket friends and investors and stuff like that, you always start off with as humble a mentality, with as humble a start as you can. All right? Because what's going to happen is it's going to help you to succeed, because you're going to have a better understanding of everything that needs to happen once you get to that level that you need to get the additional technology, additional things that could be more expensive, and that will get your business to the next level. All right? So hopefully that's clear to you. That's about it. I don't know if there's anything else I can teach you on this subject. Don't forget, ask your questions. No matter what platform you're watching this, ask the questions below, and I will do my very best to answer them. In the meantime, all I can tell you is go. It's yours for the taking, because if you don't, somebody else will, and they will beat you to the finish line. I will see you on the next video.